All right, folks, we're going to rip Joe Biden a new one today. He is absolutely the worst president in history for so many reasons. We're going to go down the rabbit hole of its lies and deceit as much as we can within the time we have today. 5-0, how you feel about this?
I'm feeling really good. I got to be honest with you. After digging into this guy, it wasn't real difficult to find just a plethora of things that he's done and said.
Yes, sir. So without any further ado, let's do this.
Biden is the worst president in history. Stole the election from you and me. He cheats and steals while he watches America bleed. His woke ass doesn't know we are wolves and not sheep. He can hardly form a sentence, he's asleep on his feet. Inflation goes through the roof as he lies to his teeth. While second in charge does our best work on our knees. Start a resume with Marion Barry in Washington, D.C. Worst VP in history. COVID and Ukraine, a way to distract from his dirty deeds and on his laptop. Smoking crack while hookers give him a lap dance. Are you kidding me? He doesn't represent the land of the brave and the home of the free, just his family's greed. Joe Biden, the worst president in history. I won't be part of this woke liberal disease. Man on man, women on women. Start your own sports team. First worry about the people in this country, not people overseas. Joe Biden was president in history. Don't let him separate you and me. We can all be free. Joe Biden was president in history.
What do you think about that, 5-0?
I love the song. I love the video. It's that's great. I love that.
Yeah, I put that together yesterday and today. Man, it is so fun blowing him up. And look at that. Oh, we got a nuclear explosion in the background. We've got a few things that we put together. We've got a video we're going to show you in a little bit. And we're gonna turn to the background, a little Biden stuff right now. And here we go. So guess what, folks? We're going to have 5-0 take over for a little while, and I'll interject because we've got a list of things that he's lied about. We've got a list of things that are just, man, egregious. He's our president, and he's selling us out, and he's destroying a lot of great things that make America what made it great. It's just so sad. I mean, I could go crazy, and I really feel like choking something, and mainly him. But listen, I'm not threatening the president. I am not threatening the president. All right, because you know what can happen there.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to be canceled. We're just Americans that actually, really care about this country, and we're just tired. We're tired of what's going on and how we, the country is swinging to this woke craziness. But anyways, I'm going to give the floor to my great friend and partner, 5-0. Yeah, he's going to take a breath in because there's so much to say.
I don't even know where to start.
Oh, 5-0, you got plenty of things to say. All right, brother.
Oh, I have plenty.
Take it away.
All right. I have plenty to say about this guy. So this guy is the 46th president of the United States. He's been in politics for, 140, 180 years?
Oh, too long.
Something like that.
He's the oldest president we've ever had.
He is the oldest president we've ever had. He spent his entire career, or the majority of it, in politics as a senator for the state of Delaware. I feel sorry for the people of Delaware. Then, of course, he became the vice president of the Obama administration. Excuse me. And from there, he was essentially what they say elected president in 2020, and since then he's just from my point of view, and I believe from yours too, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just been a downward spiral since then.
A total shit show.
Yeah, it has. He's made a lot of said a lot of lies. He's done a lot of things that have upset a lot of actual Americans, and I say actual Americans in that because you have people who live in America and you have Americans.
Right.
It's the idea of us being one country together is out the door, and it has been for a while. I believe the 4 years prior to this administration, in my opinion, was a coming together of sorts, at least from an American standpoint, not just somebody who lives in America, but from an American
And
standpoint.
doesn't really appreciate, understand how we got here, understand the tough ways that countries have to operate to really effectively sustain a lifestyle and a freedom that we enjoy. They are just out of touch in so many ways. It drives me nuts.
Right, I agree with that completely. It's just been it's been a train wreck since he's taken office. We had a great economy for 4 years. We have since we've experienced inflation in astronomical rates.
Record rates.
Yes, it's just been ridiculous. His mental capacity. We'll get into his mental capacity in a little bit, but I don't think he's fit at this point to actually lead the United States of America. Some of the things that he said, some of the things that he's done over the years, we're going to get into some of the actual things that he said and give you some examples and things like that. Trug, what's your overall opinion on this guy?
He's been lying since he was in the Senate. So, I mean, like, egregiously, his lies are, the list is so long, and again, he is out of touch, and
Oh yeah,
and his facilities are diminishing, and he can barely, like in the song, he can barely form a sentence,
right.
and say anything, that really is true. And teleprompters are being fed by other people. He is a puppet to a larger entity that normal American people like myself and you aren't privy to. And it's just a shame that, like, all these different, witch hunts. And listen, Trump, sometimes he's a little outlandish. I get it. He should have stayed off Twitter and but he's not politically correct. And I like that because you know what?
As do I.
We are too damn PC nowadays. We're too damn woke. And I don't want to prescribe or subscribe to that kind of lifestyle. Once again, refer back to that song towards the end. Men are men, women are women, stay on your own sports team. Woke people are just driving this country into the ground. And again, they're not offering a lot. You kind of forget how this country was forged and how it was built. And there was a lot of work involved. And most of these woke people don't want to work. They think the world owes them. And bottom line, they want to tear down what they never built. And that's what drives me crazy. They had no part in the major history of how this country was forged, but yet they want to run it down. They want to drag it down, but they also want to benefit from it. So it's a duality that is absolutely just insane to me. But again, and he kind of like pushes that agenda. He wants to do things like, gender. He wants men to be in women's locker rooms and do all these crazy things. I mean, the list goes on. My mind is absolutely just, there's a ping pong ball going like this, thinking about this gentleman. And it's just insane how he treats children, how he basically physically molest every child that comes within arm's distance. There's just so many egregious things about this president. And if you voted for him, and believe me, I believe in my heart and soul that election was stolen in so many different ways.
Oh, as do I.
But the truth is, if you did vote for him, what do you think about him now, knowing what you know? And believe me, there's investigations coming. Even Biden rolled over. Hunter Biden, rolled over, and he's offering up information now. There will be a reckoning that's going to come, and the people that are still behind him, I kind of feel sorry for you because maybe his idealisms align with yours, and again, I feel sorry for you because that's not, how America should be. Yes, we should accept, we should be inclusive, but that woke agenda should not be forced on people. And if you don't believe or think like me, you're wrong. Man, that debate has to come back. I mean, you can have Democrats, you can have Republicans, but if you're not able to talk and at least listen to each other's views and use your brain, use logic and facts to kind of weed things out instead of your emotions and your feelings. You know what? Your emotions and your feelings a lot of times are wrong. Because you know why? Because they're coming from a quick response, like a scorpion's tail. You don't have time to think. Think, folks. And this is for the people that probably are hating on us right now, watching this episode, and maybe turning it off, which is fine. But if you listen, think about that very aspect of life. Think about the fact that you need to be a positive influence on the United States in many ways. Nothing's perfect. Go to other countries and see how they are treated. See how they live and see how many people are suffering and don't have the rights you have. You have a right to go out and meet and have protests. But your protests are violence. Oh, it's not violence. We destroyed a car. We destroyed a window. We burned things. That is violence. It's just not physical violence on a human being. And there is still there's no real difference except for the fact that you're hurting someone, but it's still violence. Okay. And people think it's okay to do that. It's not okay. You're hurting Americans that worked hard to build that business. You're destroying cop cars. I know cops have there's one right here.
Where?
Right there.
Oh.
And he'll tell you, he's the first to tell you, and I've learned a lot from him, that not all police officers are bad. A lot of them need to be retrained. There are people with issues. Absolutely. They're all human.
Sure.
But just like I can't say all Democrats are bad or all woke people are bad or all Republicans and so on and so forth. There is a balance and nothing is perfect, but we got to find a way, first of all, to come together to fix these problems, because when we're so separate and we're so angry about everything, we don't get anything done. All we're doing is working on the next problem that we're going to create for each other. And again, if you're out in the streets, violent, destroying things, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. And if you talk to most black people, they think Black Lives Matter is shit because it's done nothing for the black community.
Oh,
look it up.
not a
All the
thing.
money goes back to Soros. So
Right.
let's be honest about some of these things, folks. So with that said, I know I'm kind of on a rambling rant, but I am like energized and really pissed off at how this country is forming. There's people. And I'm going to talk about this really quick, and I'll hand it back off to 5-0. We've got all these transgender people, and listen, man, I know my niece is gay, and I love her to death. She's a lesbian, and she's one of the most important people in my life. I am not racist, and I don't discriminate against what you want in life unless it hurts somebody. But when you're having a male swimmer dominate the female swimming collegiate records and competitions where there's people that get knocked out of top collegiate spots because of a male, and then he's going into these locker rooms and swinging his man junk in front of them and watching them undressed, but yet still claiming he's a woman, it's insanity. And it's a bit of mental illness in my eyes, especially, not mental illness to be who you want to be, but to go into these situations where there's real women and you want to compete against them. And then you also want to share bathrooms and locker rooms with them. I find a lot of issues with that. And I don't care who doesn't like me for that. I just don't, because I forget the name of the lady, and maybe in future shows I'll bring some more of this up. But we don't really want to get too political here. We try to be a fun show, but that man behind us has driven us to have this show. So again, I just don't think it's right to circle back. to have males compete against females. Even in the UFC, they're beating the crap out of women because they are just stronger physically. It's a natural aspect. It's your hormones. It's who you are. It's your sinews. It's your strength. And I find that to be really, really sad that you think that's okay out there, folks. Alexa is talking in the background. So I apologize. I'm going to go turn Alexa off. Give me a second.
All right.
We got to remember that going forward, bro. I'm sorry. Sorry, folks.
So let's get back into to Joe himself here. So we hit on a little bit of a topic that he's made a lot of false claims and things like that. So he's actually made false claims about his own past, and this was actually also reported by CNN, which is a typically left-leaning entity. So they've come on back in here, Trey.
Sorry about the Alexa thing.
Oh no worries. So Joe was in a technical, or he was talking to a technical college, some students there at a technical college, and he claimed that he used to drive a tractor trailer, but it was only through part of the summer. He said the similar thing when he went to a Mack truck facility. He said, "I used to drive an 18-wheeler, man," adding, "I got to." Well, there's the fact of the matter is, and again, this is reported by CNN, that he never actually drove an 18-wheeler. He did, in fact, drive a school bus for a short period of time, and the only...
Was it a short bus?
I'm thinking it might have been. The only evidence that they could ever find of him being in an 18-wheeler, he was a senator in 1973, and he spent a night riding in a cargo truck. He didn't drive it. But these are just the types of claims that this guy's going around saying, you know, I'm middle class, I'm normal blue-collar worker, and I'm for the blue-collar people, and that's just simply not true.
Stolen glory.
Stolen glory, so to
Stolen
speak.
glory.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that 3 times in a row.
I hope
kind
you
of
can.
kind of a mental case today. But that stolen glory it's across the board, and I've got a list here. I've got a list here of all kinds of things that he's lied about.
Let's hear him.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about his lies now, but let's do it.
Okay. He said he had a full academic law school scholarship. Lie.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't true at all.
Only had one scholarship. Graduated the top of his class. Not true. He was in the his son Bo died in Iraq, and it is sad. He did get some chemicals that affected him from Iraq, and he eventually got cancer. So I'm not, but this is just one of many lies. He just can't tell the truth. He says that he marched for the civil rights, and he didn't. He said he's been to Iraq 40 times. He wasn't. Said he was arrested with Nelson Mandela. Never happened. Said again he was a truck driver. Never happened. He says, you remember Corn Pop? You know, he used to live in the hood and blah blah. That guy's made up. Said he was appointed to the Naval Academy. He never was. Said he spoke to the inventor of insulin. Never happened. Says his house burned down. House didn't burn down. What happened? He had a small kitchen fire. So, I mean, I guess his house is destroyed now. So with that said, he said he was raised in a Puerto Rican community, which never, ever happened.
They have Puerto Ricans in Delaware?
I don't know.
Huh.
He lied about being shot overseas. First to graduate college in his family. The number of trips to China he had. I'll see here. Drunk drivers killed his family. Now, listen, again, with his son, Bo, I don't want to be cruel to anyone. I'm just pointing out that our president is a liar and is incapable of being honest with us. Incapable. And his parents weren't killed by a drunk driver. They died in a car accident, but the person that hit them was never cited with drunk driving. What he tries to do with all these things, his uncle received a Purple Heart. The list goes on, okay? And we're going to stop there. I've got more to talk about, but I think Corn Pop, you know, I was just hoping somewhere in the world Corn Pop was out there, but now I'm really devastated. The Corn Pop was just made up like Bugs Bunny. But he's trying to align with people when he shouldn't be aligning with them.
Right.
He's trying to steal culture and steal moments and steal skill sets. And he's always been just a complete liar. Now, we're going to get into his other egregious actions, like how he is very touchy-feely. And I made a wonderful video we're going to watch in a little bit that kind of goes over just a little highlights of how crappy this guy can be. But again, listen, if I want to find redeemable qualities in him, and I can't find them. I'm looking for redeemable qualities in this man, and I can't find them.
They're so few and far between.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe's a mess, man. He's just a mess, and it's going to continue. And I really hope his dealings with Ukraine, the laptop hunter, all these backdoor deals. The guy has $1 million homes. What, 2 in Delaware, and where's the other one? North
the other
Carolina?
one's in Virginia.
Virginia, thank you. On a senator's salary. Okay. Just like Pelosi. It's not insider trading. Yes, when government contracts are coming up. When you have inside those big companies, those entities, corporate world are just, you guys you're like this, okay? You share information because you want each other to succeed, and you want to facilitate success in the political realm when you're a company or a corporation. So of course that stuff, it's hand in hand. It's backdoor deals, and that's why Pelosi is so rich. I think she's close to $100 million, if I'm correct. And how do you get that kind of wealth without insider trading? And if the rest of the world had the success in the stock market that the political arena has, we'd all be rich. We'd be unbelievably rich, just like most of these people beyond their salary. So,
but what about their families and friends who are getting rich from this too, Trug? I mean, you have politicians, families, and friends. How do you suppose that happens?
Well, I mean, nepotism.
Well,
what did you say? It's on nepotism.
Let me tell you a little story.
Okay.
So 2019, Biden declared, and I quote, "I never talk with my son or my brother or anyone else, even distant family, about their business interests, period." End quote. What do you think about that?
I think that's a lie.
You do? Why would you think that?
Hold on, let me put it on my list.
Yeah, no kidding. You're gonna need a bigger list. You're gonna need a bigger list.
I'm gonna need Santa Claus to scroll. Whoosh.
Exactly. So let me tell you. Let me touch a little bit on this for you. So Joe has a younger brother named James, and James was after Joe was elected, quote unquote, elected vice president. James suddenly became the vice president of a company known as Hillstone International. You ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
So it's a subsidiary of a big construction management firm, Hill International. So what these guys do is they basically they're a large scale construction company, almost on an international level at this point. So after he becomes vice president, James is appointed vice president of this company. Okay, you staying with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
James has no background in any kind of construction, residential, commercial, or otherwise.
Or
None.
Construction
in general.
management or anything.
Anything. Nothing like that. So,
Excuse me.
James, ironically, gets this position as vice president, and shortly thereafter, about 6 months later or so, the firm announced that they got a contract to build 100,000 homes. It was part of a $35 billion, 500,000 unit project deal won by Track Development, which is a South Korean company. The Hillstone company also received, listen to this, $22 million in U.S. federal government contract for a construction project for the State Department. Now, this is a guy who has no history, no interest in construction, and all of a sudden now the younger brother is getting government contracts through this company. What do you suppose happened there? I mean, you just think that based on his credentials, they decided to, let's...
I think Indeed or maybe LinkedIn.
ZipRecruiter.
Maybe someone
ZipRecruiter,
dropped
yeah.
a DM in his LinkedIn account
Right.
and said, "Man, you look like you have everything it takes professionally, credentially, to run a multi-million-dollar project, and then several others on top of that. Thank you, ZipRecruiter." Thank you.
ZipRecruiter.com.
Thank you indeed.
Right.
I appreciate the fact that they find you qualified employees for their projects.
Right. So in 2012, this company got a massive Iraq project. So, Iraq was rebuilding and everything else. So they needed construction companies to come in, and we apparently assisted with that when it comes to this type of thing. They were expected to generate about $1.5 billion from this contract. This company was. Okay, you staying with me?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
still awake. I'm over
All
here,
right.
dude.
Well, I know. So that amounted to more than 3 times revenue the company produced in 2011. Now, this was 2012, so 3 times the revenue the company produced in 2011. So a group of minority partners, including James Biden, stood to split $735 million off that one contract.
Wow. Oh,
Off that one contract. But that's not all. That's not all.
it's not who you are; it's who you know.
It's who you know. So that was
in this game called life.
that was Joe's brother. So let's go to Hunter. You want to go to Hunter?
Oh my God. Let's see all the crackaliciousness.
Well, this wasn't as it wasn't as juicy as I'd hoped it'd be. At least from what I dug so far. So once Joe was, I hate to use the word elected vice president because he wasn't. Obama was elected. He just happened to be on the coattails. So I don't want to use elected as a word there, but I guess I don't have a whole lot of other choice. So Hunter, once Joe was elected vice president, he launched a business fused to his father's power that led him to lucrative deals. And I'm getting this information from the New York Post.
Which is a very liberal newspaper.
So it was.
And so is CNN. They're
CNN,
flipping the script
CNN's
nowadays.
hugely liberal. So New York Post has actually turned conservative
Wow.
as of recent.
Someone must have purchased it.
So when Hunter Biden launched this business and it was fused to his father's power, basically because his dad was vice president, he launched this business. He would actually get on Air Force Two with Joe wherever Joe was going for business, and Hunter would go to these different places and meet with these different dignitaries after flying in on Air Force Two for personal reasons and make these deals with these different kind of business people. So what it seemed to be was they basically tried to defraud investors. So they would take people's investments, do whatever they did with them to make their own money, and these people would end up losing their money. These investors would just lose their money. So several people from that particular group with Hunter were tried and convicted of this.
So what you're saying is Hunter escaped prosecution.
Ironically,
I wonder how that happened.
yeah, I'm not sure, but it was basically he got away scot-free. He got away scot-free. Everybody else went down and were convicted of these crimes, but he got away scot-free.
That guy lives a charmed life. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, life of Riley. He's bulletproof.
He certainly seems
but
to
those days are going to end, and I really think that there's a lot of things coming down the pipe, and if it doesn't happen, it's just like, okay, I'm not going to get all conspiracy theorist on you, but even the Kennedy thing, things can be just swept under the rug, and just normal Americans like me and you, blue collar Americans, will never ever have access to what is the truth.
Right.
And the truth is skewed, it's blurred, and it just sometimes it just poof disappears in thin air, and we never ever hear of it again. and then they put something else on the TV to distract us, to get our minds off the fact that all these things are happening. And I love that picture in the background. Oh my God, did you guys just see that? It was wonderful. But they, just like me, I just distracted you. But they do it on a larger stage and a larger level. And they have all these wonderful entities like all these news outlets, the newspapers. Even I guarantee, even some of the stars out there are hand in hand with some of the political agendas. Not only because of their own beliefs, because of the partnership in which they have with some of these political powers. And so anything can happen. I mean,
Hold on.
sorry, listen, I don't want to commit suicide. The brakes work on my car. There was somebody, and I'm sorry, I didn't write it down, but there was a lady that went on live on TV and had mentioned that when she was talking about Hillary Clinton. And I'm going to talk about Hillary because a lot of people mysteriously disappear when you piss off the Clintons.
Isn't that funny how that
Oh
happens?
yeah. And Bill can go to Epstein Island and then Epstein's girlfriend get arrested, but no list is produced. It's insane. All these things that they're doing. We can't do as I say, not as I do. They can hide and distract and lie and falsify anything they want, and then they just once again throw a distraction in front of you, and just. A lot of Americans are that way, though. They forget. I don't forget this shit. I remember it. And, again, it really sucks that people in power can get away with all this bad behavior.
With no repercussions.
And then move on to the next bad behavior. And Hunter Biden is like a perfect example of just getting away with anything. A spoiled rich kid that has international ties. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on some bad list, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't wish anything like that on anybody. And again, we don't want to hurt anybody, especially on the show, unless you're trying to hurt us. And then, okay, well, it's on. But with that said, it's just insane that how much craziness that American people are willing to ingest and then just forget and then move on to the next tragedy. It's insane. And that's another reason that kind of drove us to do this show. We want to have fun. Our next show, I think, is going to be a coffee show. We want to talk about coffee, and how we love coffee and all these wonderful things, and talk about music. I'm not going to digress too much, but that was one of the main things that we just having a conversation, me and him together.
Yeah.
And we're like, how long can we keep dealing with this shit? And we have this medium on YouTube. And again, this is kind of a controversial show. We don't know how people are going to accept it. And you know what? Honestly, we don't care.
I was just going to say that's irrelevant.
We don't care.
These are our opinions and our facts as we found them.
We know there's plenty of Americans that align with the way we feel, and a lot of them are lining up to get him out and impeached.
Right.
A lot of them are lining up to get America back. And unfortunately, folks, a lot of them are going to vote Republican next election. Even if it's not Trump, it's going to be someone else.
Right.
Okay, because they're tired of the Democrat community. Not enough people do research about the Democratic Party. They just don't. And they invented the KKK.
Right.
They wanted to keep slavery in place back during the Civil War. They created welfare and the one-parent system for the black community that basically has destroyed the black community in so many ways. And anyone that has any knowledge or understands it, and I'm talking about black leaders, they are done being sheep and being led and also lied to by the Democratic Party. No one's perfect. Both parties have their issues, but every 4 years, they sure pander to them. They do everything they can to get their vote. But once that election's been established and the Democratic leaders get elected, they disappear into the shadows, and they're left with that same welfare, low job rate system that has been keeping the black community down for so long. And I don't like it. I think it's horrible. I think that everyone's in charge of their own self, regardless of what upbringing they have or their situation. And I think that, some things, could be changed just by the people even in that situation. And instead of playing the victim all the time and try to rise above it. And there's a lot of opportunities here in America, and sometimes more for black folks than for white folks nowadays.
Oh, I would say so.
You know what? And I have no problem with that if they're qualified for these jobs.
Exactly.
And if they're qualified for them, man, give them a chance. Let them rise up. Don't do it for quotas. Quotas is wrong. People should be working and striving for their success regardless of color. So I don't think that that's correct. But then again, sometimes those opportunities have to be offered regardless to help anyone rise up. And I'm not saying there's I feel bad. I don't feel bad for the black communities, because I know they can do anything they want to do, and it's been proven. Entertainment, science, political, they're rising up like they never have before. But I do have a problem with the Democrats putting them in that situation to begin with, not allowing the father to stay in the home, a strong family unit, because once that happened, it started going downhill. And there's no one that lives in those situations that can look you in the face and say that's not true. And to me, that's an American tragedy, and it was caused by the Democrats.
I agree with that, and it's just like you said, not enough people have done their homework on the Democratic Party to look back and see exactly what all they've done, what all they've caused, what issues they have. Everybody hears what's going on now and what they think is the right thing for them, and they want to jump on that bandwagon. It's a very, very
Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Sorry.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
Back to Joe, not just the Democratic Party. Let's get back to Joe. Hey, you made quite a video, didn't you?
I did make a video.
You holding out on me?
I'm holding out on you.
All right. You're not ready for it yet? I'd like to see it.
Wait, I'm going to sniff the microphone.
I'd like to see it.
This is my Joe Biden move. I'm just
This
kidding.
is why I keep you around, Trug.
No, well, thank you for keeping me around, I guess. I appreciate that.
I want to see this video. Let's see this video.
All right, let's see what goes on here. Folks, I hope you enjoy this. Sleepy Joe, here we go.
Well, I just want you to know, I may be Irish, but I'm not stupid. Think about it. Think about what you'd think about at the time. Oh, there are about 16 there I've already gone in for yet, and a lot more are asked. Another 20 or so. I'm going to be going in. And the order, and that increases the total vaccine order in the United States by 50%, from 400 million order to 600 million. This is enough vaccine to fully vaccinate 300 Americans.
Enough vaccine to fully vaccinate 300 Americans.
Must there be reconciliation?
What must be what?
What must be what?
I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona. Last week, President Harris and I stood in the United States Capitol. And that's why I asked President Harris to travel to the region last August. But all kidding aside, of course, President Harris is a proud Howard alum.
So generous with your time in these difficult days. You and I are going to write yet another chapter in the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations, the United States of America and the Jewish and Democratic State of Israel. Both of us who seek to do good.
Well, we got a lot to do. You gotta say hi to me. We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
I love sniffing children.
At any rate. What economy is growing? The United States I think it's time to give ordinary people a tax break. Don't pay a cent. Not a single little red cent. But it's not right. That's not fair. Pay your fair share. But just pay a little bit. Remember, I'm your commander-in-chief. Those who say the blood of patriots, you know, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there are never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
Did he just threaten us with nuclear weapons and F-14s? What the F?
I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
Beware of the Sniffinator.
Stranger danger!
Get over here.
Where's the Secret Service when you need them?
Ooh, Dizzy Poo. Are you kidding me?
Mommy, why?
You can't stop me.
All right, Celtic is stumbling up the stairs and about to board. We should be arriving with this lying sack of presidential disappointment in approximately 2 hours. Everybody buckle up.
You really enjoyed that. I hope you had a good time watching that in the best way possible because, yes, some of that footage is disturbing. It really shouldn't be laughed at. It should anger you. I laugh and because I can't believe he's getting away with all these things
Daily.
Man, he was on. It was the State of the Union the other night, and it was so funny. I didn't get the video up in time, but he said, "Oh, we're gonna need oil for the next 10 years," and the whole place erupted in laughter. I know, I get it. It must have been mostly Republicans, but I'm telling you right now, there were some Democrats in there just holding their head and going, "You are an absolute." You're the dark angel from heaven to destroy the Democratic Party.
Well,
you have come to destroy us all.
You're seeing Democrats distance themselves from him already. I mean, you've seen a lot of that. You've seen a lot of them that ultimately, without switching sides, have switched sides.
Hell, CNN is starting
Right.
to finally report the news that has truth in it.
Right.
And with that, they are turning on him a bit. The whole Democratic Party is turning on Joe Biden for a lot of reasons. They all have mud on their face.
Right.
They got poopy diapers, all because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the worst president that I could, in my lifetime, that I've ever witnessed. And yes, okay, I am a Republican.
What?
I
are?
love America. And nothing's perfect. And I'm not saying the Republican Party is perfect either. A lot of people believe that both sides kind of take advantage of us. It's true. But there's that saying, what is the lesser evil?
Exactly.
And I'm telling you right now, it's not that man behind me.
No, I would take some mean tweets and a good economy any day.
Yeah. Jobs coming, manufacturing coming back
Yes.
in, reasonable gas prices, eggs that aren't $5 a carton. There's
Or
so
more.
many things. Our power bill. Oh, my God, people. I don't know. Everyone's noticed, okay, for the most part. I've got friends in California. One of my friends, Esteban, he runs a great company, and his gas 2 months ago was like, it was like $42 or something. I can't remember. Now it's like $280.
Oh, yeah.
My electric bill has doubled.
As has mine. Mine has
Doubled.
Too. Yeah.
Now, is there a reason for that?
Yes.
Yes, because there's greed. There's something going on. They're trying to price us into a box so we can no longer afford anything but the basics, especially in the middle class. And that's why you saw in the video earlier, when I put in, it's exhausting, destroying the middle class when he's taking a nap. He's taking a nap. And what he's doing, and what everyone else at the very top that actually own the presidency, not the president, he's not in charge.
No.
If you think he is, you're a fool. And with that said, I don't know what's happening in this country and what they're trying to position us into, but I am worried. And I'm really honest about that. I am worried about the direction that this country is going, and we need to make a big change fast. We need to get someone. I know a lot of people are gonna hate this. You can turn it, and that's fine. We need Trump back in office.
Agreed.
Period.
So this deal with the recent Chinese spy balloon, did you hear about that?
And why was it allowed to travel
There you go.
so
That's
far
my question.
into our country? What kind of experiment and test, not only with our patients, what kind of a tactical test was that for China? We'll never know. They're never going to tell us anything that's worthwhile. But why? Do you know what? All these news agencies across in Australia and Europe think we're a effing joke. Biden has weakened the strength and weakened the image of this country so egregiously that I don't know how we're going to come back. It's not going to happen overnight. I'll tell you that. It's going to take some time to get things back in order and get the strength of America, the strength of our economy, and the strength of our people and the unification of our people back as much as possible. Racism would be almost, for the most part, there's always going to be racist on black, white. It doesn't matter what color you are capable of being a racist. So let's not just peg that on the white man and the white woman. Okay, let's be honest. They are trying to divide us. Are we going to let them? It seems like most of us are letting them. And most of us are going in their tiny little sects. They're getting brainwashed in college. They're getting brainwashed in the schools. And again, I don't like these gender studies or these gender classes where if you feel like a boy, well, you must be a boy. And they're 6 years old. They can't even form a true opinion on anything in life yet, and you're feeding them this garbage. I don't have kids. But if I did, I would homeschool them. And you know what? And believe me, I've been really researching, and Trump is trying his hardest to get back in office so he can make it illegal for some of these things that are going on in our schools, in our colleges, that are absolute. You could put up a gay flag, but God darn you, don't put up an American flag.
Oh, no, not
What
anymore.
are they trying to do, folks? They're trying to weaken us in every fabric possible. And the Russians and China, they all want this. They want us to fight and bicker and not be united and strong together on a united front, because it makes it easy for them to manipulate and eventually conquer us. And that's what they want. I don't care what you think. Those countries would love to just come on in, go right to the shore and walk right onto our country and take over. They would love to do that. And by not being strong, by not researching, and by just being plain sheep, it's a slow decay. It's a slow burn. It is a slow, slow burn, and we will pay for it. Our children will pay for it. Our grandchildren will pay for it. So we've got to do something about it now. We've got to start thinking about not only a lot, and that's what politicians do too. They just worry about their immediate future, their wealth, their greed, and when they pass, it doesn't matter to them anymore. But it used to matter to everybody how we left this country to the next generation. And we've got to start getting back there and thinking about how we're going to strengthen this country for generations to come. Because I rue the next 100 years if we keep on this course. We will not be America anymore, folks. So I just pray and I hope that anyone that hears this or really pays attention to what's going on, the slow conditioning that they're putting upon us, like COVID, all this. Listen, COVID was real. I get it, but it wasn't as devastating as they say it was. And bottom line, they're conditioning us. And you know what? And I love, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and Corolla, he's a great guy. And I don't want to take anything from him because this is his saying, but I'll tell you what, I think it's just perfect. They're trying to crate train us. They're slowly getting us backed into the crate. They're going to close the front door, and then we're going to sit there submissively as they run rampant through our country, and the elite do exactly what they want to do, and they leave the chance of that America dream out the door. It'll never happen for future generations if they have it that way. You will be a very, very, once again, obedient worker, obedient American, and you'll have no choice to do their bidding, especially when they start going to a digital currency.
Digital currency is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, they're going to own you for everything, and they can just push a button. We're going to push a button, and you're going to be done. You won't be able to get gas. I mean, it's just like China. They do that right now in some of the areas of China. They have a digital currency. And it doesn't matter if you're a businessman that's been working hard for forever and built everything, and you say one thing wrong, and they push the button, and you are erased. And that's where we're heading, folks.
They've started that with this whole electric car thing. You have states that are essentially banning the sale of any kind of gas or diesel vehicles, and they're trying to go full electric. Well, here's the issue that you have with that. All these people that have bought these electric cars, and those are their primary means of transportation, what happens when they decide to turn your power grid off and you can't charge it?
You're stuck. And, again, Biden will come in with his nukes and his F-14s and make sure that you fall in line. You fall in line, and I know it seems a little conspiracy theorist and a little outlandish, but I'm telling you right now, they are positioning to do that, and a lot of people are not really paying attention to the slow burn that's happening all around us, and it's slowly taking rights, freedoms. Most blue states are trying to take, all guns, if not all of them. I think it's just it's really insanity. It's not what this country was built upon.
Not at all.
And that was the thing you saw in the video. I was like, okay, you're the blood of patriots. We're not going to show up. You're not going to show up at the White House with guns and be able to take it over. No, we know that. We're not stupid. We know that the military is the best military in the world. But guess what? We still deserve to protect our family if someone breaks through the fucking window.
I couldn't agree more with that. And being in law enforcement, that's pretty much the status quo for the way that we see things. We're all for the citizen who owns guns to own guns legally and use them to protect themselves if necessary. And that's a general consensus among law enforcement.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we're both in Illinois. See, I didn't say Illinois again.
That was a good job. I know.
I'm doing
you know
so
what?
good.
Eventually, I'm going to have you crate trained.
I know. Just give me my potty pads. I don't want to lay in my own filth. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know we're going off a little bit of the Biden, but this is all intersecting. It's all intersecting. A lot of sheriffs, I think 90%, so 9 out of every 10 sheriffs are denying that law and aren't going to follow it. and they're not going to prosecute or jail anyone under those circumstances because it's against the Second Amendment, and it's crazy. You live in a blue state. I mean, I came from California, born and raised, and now that place is just an insane asylum. Insane asylum as far as the political landscape. Go to all these programs in San Francisco and L.A. Go to see the homeless and how well the Democrats have ran their state into the ground, and they want to bring that new method to your hometown. So Be careful. Vote blue. Holy crap! And on your sidewalks there'll be poo. That's my new saying. Vote blue, sidewalk, poo. So it's just crazy what they're doing, one small thing at a time, and it all starts with people like him. And again, there's a larger entity above him that's making all this happen. And we, as small individuals, just like right now, we can say how we feel. We can, we can use this medium to get our thoughts out to our subscribers, and our haters. Some people that can't stand me or him or what we stand for are going to watch this and they're going to hate the whole time. But we can't do that much as individuals. As much as we wish we could, our vote only means so much. And nowadays, it doesn't seem like it means much at all, does it?
It seems to mean much less than it used to.
Yeah, well, stealing elections seems to be an art form. So, and again, I have liberal friends, and I love them so much. And once they see this podcast, they're going to hate me. Or like me less or something, and you know what? I'm okay with that.
I want to go back to something you said earlier that really stood out to me, and I wanted to wrap around to it, but we got off on a little bit of a tangent. But you said that I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was something about politicians want to do this, politicians want to do that. Do you remember saying something like that? Politicians greed, they're out for themselves.
Yeah, they basically what I said is they only care about a small scope of time, in which they're living in.
Exactly,
and they're not thinking about the future of this country. That's kind of what I said.
So, in the last 40 years, can you tell me, in your opinion, who were the two best presidents in the last 40 years?
Oh, that's easy. Ronald Reagan and number 45, Donald Trump.
Now, I was hoping you were going to say that. What was Ronald Reagan prior to becoming president?
He was an actor.
So you mean he wasn't a politician?
No, I mean, it's really odd that people that aren't lifetime politicians can come in and do a better job than people who have been doing the job since they started their professional career of lying and cheating and taking advantage of the American people.
But wait, there's more.
Sorry, I've been ranting a lot on the show because I'm angry, and I'm sorry.
So what was President Trump prior to becoming president?
He was just a businessman.
So you're telling me he wasn't a politician either prior to this?
No, he wasn't, and a lot of people call him racist too. He's crazy.
He's the least racist person.
Man, he's done so much for the black community. Back in the day when he was in New York, banks wouldn't give loans to black gentlemen that are trying to do upstarts or expand their business. And they would go to Trump, and he'd loan them the money, and then give them a due date and this and that. When they came back to pay him the money that they owed him, he said, well, how's the business going? Okay, well, thank you. Have a nice day. And he'd let them keep the money.
Yep.
Okay? Who does that? People, you're so confused. You are just absolutely deluded by the media and by schools and by colleges and by all these special interest groups. Mm-hmm. They're making you they're turning you into sheep and they're brainwashing you.
Yep.
And bottom line, he's got problems. I got problems. He's got problems. We're all human beings. We're not perfect. But I want a pit bull. I want a political incorrect person as in charge of this country, taking care of our interests first and not worrying about foreign entities unless, well, we always have to worry about certain things because we have interests overseas. And that's just, no one wants to hear that, but it's the truth. But America should come first. When we have homeless on the streets,
absolutely,
when we have veterans that don't have the facilities or the proper health care, and they are working on that the best they can from what they say. But when we have all these problems, but yet we're pouring trillions of dollars into other countries, I think it's egregious. It's not what our forefathers fought for. It's not what people that worked on assembly lines and created all this wonderful industry and technology and all the tech industries. We didn't do this to not take care of ourselves first. And that's what we should be doing. Some say it's selfish. I disagree. Again, go to the homeless camps in San Diego, LA, and believe me, some of those people want to do that, and they're drug addicts, and they're not doing their share to lift themselves out. But there's also as many, if not more, it's circumstantial, and no one's helping them. They're giving them basic needs to sustain what is a miserable life, what is a miserable existence, and so many people are out in the street and are absolutely just dead inside because they can't find a way out. But we have enough money and resources in this country to help them, but we're not doing it. And we've got to wonder why. And we've got to get people in. I'm not talking about the presidency. I'm talking about local government. I'm talking about your governors. I'm talking about your mayors. I'm talking about your police chiefs. I'm talking about all the people that really are aligned with American values and get this country back in shape. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm afraid it's not. That's what I'm scared about, and that's why I'm mad, is that I don't think with how far we've gone the wrong way that we can turn this train around. I sure hope so. What do you think, 5-0?
I think we're almost to the point where it's going to take a full-on revolution for that to happen, I think.
I hate that, too.
As do I.
I hate it. I hate to think that we would go back to, a civil war situation with each other.
God forbid that would ever happen.
God forbid.
But at the same time, you're fast approaching that point where there's not going to be a turnaround point. You're getting too deep.
The tipping point is on the horizon.
Agreed.
And that really sucks, man.
It does.
It really makes me sad. Like as an American, I can't tell you enough.
This is the greatest country in the world. This is the greatest country in the world.
And it's slowly in decline.
Yeah.
And so if you get anything out of our stupid little show, is that we do love America, and we love all Americans, and we are inclusive. We love – listen, if you want to call yourself a toaster, go ahead. Make some toast. Just don't force your views on me. We don't force our views on you. And everyone can live free, but don't do it at the expense of changing America for the worst.
Agreed.
Woke culture is a joke, and their feelings are not a joke, but how they deal with them, most of those people are very weak people, and they are making this country weak, and they don't know it. They will rue, and they will reap what they sow in future generations. Mm-hmm. And this is another thing I hate to see. In the future, their children looking back towards what they did and going, why? Why'd you do this to us? Why did you make us live in an America that no longer has the American dream? That everyone's so hurt and upset about everything that said. Comedians must have the worst job in the world now. I love Chappelle because he don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still out there doing his thing, and he's saying his thing, whatever he feels, and that's fine. Everyone should be able to do that.
But he's also had repercussions for it, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the LGBT community wanted to castrate him financially, physically, and spiritually. It's crazy. And, I still harbor hope that one day I'll get up and do like an open mic comedy night or something like that. It's been like a bucket list for me.
Ooh, if you do, can you do me a favor?
What? Can
you take some 3x5 cards?
Yes. Oh, that's a joke on someone that tried to be in this podcast. But anyways, he is a strange one. But I wouldn't do it in this atmosphere because I couldn't be outlandish. I couldn't be fun. You can't make fun of anybody anymore. Right. Why can't we make fun of anybody anymore? I let people make fun of me. Why? I want to make fun of you. Everybody. Let's relax, loosen up, folks. We're only going to be on this planet for so long. Time is ticking. Oh, that's counterclockwise. Right. There we go.
There you go.
It is actually backwards because there's a camera. He's a camera.
Glad you
there.
pointed that out.
He's a camera. Everything's reversed. Flippity flop.
You know, I get that your feelings get hurt or whatever the case may be, but unfortunately, you know, your feelings don't supersede law and Constitution.
Nope, it sure doesn't. And again, man, it is so sad that that everyone's so sensitive. They can't even. They're scared of their own shadow. Loosen up, folks. We only have so much time on this planet. Open up doors for people. Be polite to people. You know, and I think I said this in another show that I still open doors, and some people give me dirty looks like they don't care if I did it or not. You know what? I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know, I'm not perfect, but when I'm in the public, I try to lead by example. I actually try to engage people and make them laugh and have a good situation and lighten things up. Hell, if we're in a line at the store or the DMV, lighten things up because human interaction, talking to someone you've never met before and striking up a conversation is real powerful stuff for your soul and your mind, and for them too. And when you're kind to somebody, it leaves them with that feeling, and it's a pay it forward situation. They may be more apt to do it for someone in the future, knowing it's been done for them. So let's think about that, folks, going forward in our lives. I think it's the best thing possible is that we, regardless of our political stances, our beliefs, our sports teams, our religions, we're all human, and we will leave this planet. How are we going to leave it? So, with that said, you got anything else to say, 5-0?
Nope, we're all in this together. That's it.
We're all in this together, and I'm going to go ahead. We're going to end this wonderful podcast. And again, I'm sorry. There's some times where I went all over the place and rambled because there's not enough time.
This could have been an all-day show.
There's not enough time in this podcast or room in my brain for all the things that are bouncing around in it and the discontent that I have for what's going on with our country. I love you, America. I love you. Anyone watching this, I care about you. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. I want things to go well for you in your life. I don't wish ill will on people. Some people deserve it, but I wish that they changed their minds and their hearts and became more understanding of the fact that we're humans and we're not, Chinese, we're not Brazilian. We're all humans. But do you know how much wonderful pride a lot of people in other countries have for their country? It's such a great thing to see, and there's still a lot of it here. There's still a lot of patriotism and camaraderie with fellow Americans. I just think we need more of it. I think we need more love. And with that said, we're gonna do a little laughing again, and we're gonna play that Biden song to ride us out of this day. I'm glad to be your partner. You're a great American. He's a deputy sheriff, and I'm just the troglodyte.
You're the troglodyte.
I am the troglodyte. So we'll go ahead and roll this out. Again, America, I love you. And please subscribe. Please share this channel with other people. Please, please, please. We want to reach more people. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. We've had a lot of technical difficulties lately.
Oh, my gosh. That's putting it mildly.
But we've kind of built a very, elaborate system. It's not just your normal podcast. There's a lot of stuff that goes into every show. And I'm proud of that. He's proud of that. And sometimes, you're not an expert in all fields. So you have to go through trial and error. We literally had to scrap like 5 episodes.
I think it's 5.
Because of different issues. I won't get into the details of that, but we got it pretty strong going forward. So we want to put out more content for you folks and be more engaging with what's going on currently, but also throwback. Talk about the 80s, 90s. Have fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is the main objective of this podcast, is for two good friends to enjoy themselves and laugh with all you folks out there. So we love you, America, and we're going to leave you with this. God bless.
Biden is the worst president in history. Stole the election from you and me. He cheats and steals while he watches America bleed. His woke ass doesn't know we are wolves and not cheap. He can hardly form a sentence, he's asleep on his feet. Inflation goes through the roof as he lies through his teeth, while second in charge does our best work on our knees. Start a resume with Marion Barry in Washington, D.C. Worst VP in history. COVID and Ukraine, a way to distract from his dirty deeds and on his laptop, smoking crack while hookers give him a lap dance. Are you kidding me? He doesn't represent the land of the brave and the home of the free, just his family's greed. Joe Biden, the worst president in history. I want